Hello, welcome to another M. Francis McCarthy oil painting demonstration. This is your painter in residence, M. Francis McCarthy. And the painting I'm bringing you today is we're going to call it a metamorphosis. Good idea from someone on the channel who commented. And yeah, I agree. I like that. Although maybe a few people won't know what metamorphosis means, but I doubt they're watching. I doubt they're watching. Yeah, they're watching another episode of America's Greatest Hero. Anyway, this painting's called Morning Lane, and it ends up looking a lot more like a sunset, but we'll call it sunrise. How about that? Yeah, in fact, it goes through some. This is a failed painting, a totally failed painting, and I knew it was going to fail before I even painted it, and I gave it everything I had, and I've recorded that. I've got that somewhere. I didn't feel like sharing it today because it's just, this was in the box of dispose. I remember taking the photo the scene's based on, and what I'm really into is that main tree there, the one in the front. The one in the back, I thought I could get that to work, but I didn't. So right now I'm painting just sky over the top. I really felt pretty lost here. Like I didn't have any reference that I was looking at or anything, and I was just trying to get rid of things that I knew I didn't like. And you'll see, actually you would have seen already from the video thumbnail. You see we came up with something pretty cool, pretty good. Pretty happy with it now, and that was a couple days ago. And yeah, I was going to give up again because you'll see we'll hit the end of this first revision chunk, and you go, yeah, well, it's better, but still, please, it's boring. And at the end, I think I came up with a pretty nice saleable painting. I decided to go like the golden route, and I guess that's a good. Well, I guess what I want to talk about today is like every day when you sit down to work is a new day, and we think that life is a lot more continuous than it is, and the reason for that is because our consciousness is continuous, but the experiences that make impressions upon the consciousness are always changing, as is the depth that those experiences are held by the consciousness. This is getting pretty heady, but hey, like I said, most people would have tuned out already, so if you're listening, just go along with me here. But this it ties directly into painting because there is a continuity, and the continuity is based on experience, and it's based on the multiple impressions that having the same sort of experience will make upon you. And this is what you can rely on. Like in athletes, it's called muscle memory. They're going to get into a situation with that basketball, and they're just going to react correctly at a pre-thought level, and that's one of the reasons I was harping on the painting all the time. And there was a great comment on the channel that was like, yeah, agreeing, the painting all the time was a great idea, you know, with the right intention, and for sure it's going to be 10 times more valuable with the right intention. But the fact of the matter is that just the activity of doing a painting, whether it's a study or a bad painting, it almost has as much value to do a bad painting as it does to do a good painting, from the standpoint of collecting multiple layers of experiential impressions on your psyche. And the great thing about the bad paintings, of course, is that well, the great thing is about them is when you discover they're bad. Sometimes you know they're bad as you're doing them, or right after you did them. In my case, I do tend to hold out a little more hope, although I have to say, as I mosey on down the lane, I generally know if it's a real stinker right after I did it, Anyway, I have managed to make a positive change here, and on the basis of just relying on all that muscle stuff. And then we took it further. So we basically kind of let this dry. I was like, okay, I got rid of that tree in the back. Why was that tree in the back a problem? Well, that was, in the photo, and I tried very hard to make it move back by doing scumbling and stuff. And I think someone looking at the painting would get the idea of what I was trying to do, but it still compositionally didn't work, and I feel that that was because you were trapped, and you would have had to fade it into almost nothing not to feel trapped because of the overlap between the tree I painted out and the current tree. So someone had to be in charge, and sometimes I do, or actually more correctly, like something had to be up front, something had to be clearly predominant. And when I do music, and sometimes I do production with other artists and stuff, and I've had cases where I've had multiple vocalists, and I'm doing the mixing and producing, and I will always pick one and say this is the star of the show. That's why I say star. This is the predominant voice, and every other voice is supporting it, and sometimes might rise to the fore, but always in a secondary role. So, and that doesn't always have to happen with your trees. You can do quite strong trees in relation to each other, but in this particular composition, they were duking it out big time. So much so that I didn't bother, like I said, to share the initial painting session, which I have somewhere. So here we are. We're going to get into a few days later. I sat around when I'm, have my days off and whatnot, and picked it up. And the first thing I thought was, man, that's a really boring sky. And seeing as I can't really do much else with the land here because of that totally predominant tree, maybe I'll just turn it into a golden sunset. And after that occurred to me, guess what color I broke out and decided to rub it down with? Just guess. It starts with a B and ends with an umber. That's right, good old burnt umber. And burnt umber was the one of the colors that Ines would just glaze his paintings down when he was looking at a similar situation as I am right now. It's like, it's not totally bad, but it needs to move into a more uplifting, and I don't know if uplifting is the word. It's got to move into a more transcendent space. Like, that's one thing I'm always trying to accomplish with my art, is I'm trying to get something that's transcendent, something that has extra color, extra depth, extra feeling. I'm not really very content just making a pictorial copy of nature, And some people do that really, really well, and I probably could do it too. Get realistic effects. I'm not that concerned with that sort of thing. The fact I was talking to a dealer the other day, and I was describing my work, and one word I like to use is the word synthetic. That was a good move right there, painting out that other branch. And I was a little more on this day too, so that's another thing, getting back to what I was saying earlier, and when I was in the real philosophical portion of the broadcast, sit down and paint every day. Like, some days you're really going to be flying, you're going to be making great decisions, and your intuition's going to be clicking and totally backing you up, and you're just going to go from strength to strength, and it's going to be a great day. And there'll be other days where you just struggle, and you feel like, oh man, I'm not very good, and why am I even bothering right now? And there could be a temptation just to, even on those days, my advice to you is, if that feeling's overwhelming, then do some board prep. But if you've got even a little bit of nonce, get the brushes out, get the paints out, and start painting. You never know. I've seen a lot of times one thing starts going right and another thing starts going right. And like I said, you can start building on successive strengths and getting into a positive feedback loop. Yeah, by the way, today is, what is it, March 2nd here. Wow. We're running out of summer here, folks. We're on the tail end, and it's been a blazing hot summer. We had a rainy day today. Temperatures are pretty cool today. It's going to be back up to 27 degrees Celsius tomorrow, which I think is like the Fahrenheit equivalent of like 85, something like that. Hot enough for you go. It's hot. Yeah, I'm not looking forward to that, but whatever. And since, I guess only the true believers are with me now. It's, how far are we in here? We're at 10 minutes, so, people looking for what medium I'm using and what color I'm painting right now already tuned out. So, I'll talk a little bit about what I was doing in the studio. One thing I want to talk about real quick is lighting. If you're not using LED lights, I highly recommend that you do. And there's a factor that they come in different strengths. So the one that I got is actually a 15 watt, but it's equivalent of like 120 old watts or something like that. But there's another thing that's a factor with these LED lights that I wasn't aware of till recently, and that is they have an arc or radius of light that they cast. I recently got some lights that have an arc I got some lights that had an arc of 150, and then I recently got some that had an arc of 200. I don't know what that means. All I know is it's really, really wide and really, really bright. And if you want to make sure always get the cool ones, because those do their best to emulate daylight, and they're really good at supplementing daylight because they don't flicker. Low on power use. Most people are convinced about the wisdom of LEDs, but I'm very, very into it because having good lighting in your studio is really important. Yeah, so I wanted to pass that on. But what I was doing here yesterday was working on my store, like I said it was gonna. That's sometimes you'll hear me say, I'll do something by such and such a day, and it's like, I've been procrastinating. But the problem with my store is like the built-in template from Squarespace was just cropping everything, so you couldn't get a feeling of what the actual painting was. It looked decorative, it looked cool, but it didn't really give you a sense of relationship of sizes or actual proportions, like it would crop a vertical horizontal or a horizontal vertical. Anyway, I was trying my best to get some sort of automatic template solution, and just hit a dead end with those folks. And so what I have done is I spent the whole day yesterday setting up a grid that looks a lot better, and then just linking to the items as they're in the store. So check it out if you've been to the store and you go, eh. Now, I haven't put in many new things yet, and the reason for that is I wanted to just, get something set up. And it's not all built yet, so I have like a main page that's got everything on it, and it does say the size underneath. But I'm also going to have little sub-pages that sort of like say mini paintings or small paintings or medium paintings. I hesitate to call out large paintings because I haven't done that many. I have a few here at the house, and I have sold one I've sold a few, but I'm still working my way up to doing a lot of large things on a regular basis. So I don't have that much, but I just imagine someone clicking on the link for large paintings and seeing a 10 by 14 going, okay, well, I guess it's large for him. Anyway, I'll sort that out. But check out my store. If you oh, that's my, of all the ways you can support me, that'd be my favorite way is buy one of my original paintings, because I just love it when they get out of my studio and into someone's home. And I just delivered a bunch of excellent ones to a gallery today. I'm so excited because they've been selling a lot of things there. And, when a gallery moves a lot of things, you tend to give them good things, uh, which, like I say, my work's at I think, a pretty high level, more and more. So, I don't do as many stinkers. But it's always a challenge. That's a challenge that, uh, and I've had people, friends of the channel, ask my advice on this, and I have lots to say about it. But I don't say much here because most people just don't want to hear about the struggles of selling art. But it can be a challenge, and the biggest challenge, of course, is that no one needs art. Okay, you need food, and you need a place to sleep. Um, and you might even justify saying, I need a TV, I need a computer, I need a phone. You know, uh, but you don't need a painting. The only reason people ever buy a painting is because they love it, and they gotta have it, and they want it. And so consequently, it's a pretty small percentage of the population. I have bought quite a few because I like to support other artists. I think it's a good idea. If you should do the same too. If you're looking to sell work, make sure you buy some work. Of course, if I'm buying, I'm getting deals. I've seen some artists sell their work really, really cheap, really, really good stuff, and I'm like, I'll take that. And then later I'll say, your price is really low, too low. If I'm buying, your price is too low. Anyways, a long rambly video cast today, but hopefully you enjoyed it, got a few little nuggets out of it, and I'll be back real soon with another video. There's a decent live video up there, and thanks to those of you that have watched that. Check that out, and that watch and check out all my videos. I appreciate you. If you ever have a question, you shoot me an email or drop me a question in the comments. I answer all questions, including what medium I use. That's Archival Oils brand, odorless lean. And if you're with me here at 17 minutes in, you already knew that. So have a great day. And until I get back with another video, take good care of yourself and your family, all your loved ones. Love your enemies. It's a good idea. You don't even have any, but if you do, love them. They're doing their best. They are. And take good care and stay out of trouble.